Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Crypto Control here. Just making a quick video talking about Control Token. It's my new project. It's in a pre-sale, and most pre-sales are usually a terrible idea. It's better just to wait a couple days and then see how the price looks. But Control Token actually aims to make the pre-sale the floor value with the buy and sell tax. So with the sell tax, if anybody sells at the launch, they'll be taking a loss. And so hopefully with that sell tax, it does what pre-sales are supposed to do, which is supposed to actually put you in at the floor value instead of getting in, having a bunch of people who don't care about the project at all use bots to dump on you, and now you're stuck with the project that with a fraction of what you put in. I wouldn't launch a project just to launch one. Wouldn't launch a project unless I thought I had a really amazing idea. And I am convinced that I have one of the best tokenomics projects ever created. I think that this project has potential to be massive and that it has multiple aces up its sleeve in its design. It is through understanding that the value in the liquidity pool is what everybody is seeking after. And it's through understanding that that's a pyramid-like structure that doesn't incentivize the future of the project. You're only incentivized to grow the project up until your selling point. And once you sell, you don't leave anything positive behind for the project. So even if we remove rug pull, scam, pump and dump, people using bots, the pyramid-like structure is built into how the liquidity pool works so that the early buyers will always gain control of the project. And the project really only grows or lasts as long as the whales allow it to. As soon as those whales sell, the hype, the momentum, the growth of the project is dead, and you have to move on to the next project. This is the space. This is what's happening over and over and over again. 95+% of the crypto environment is just pump and dumps, rug pulls, scams, and pyramid schemes. So what Control Token does is it aims to actually solve this issue by aligning the interest of the holder with the interest of the project, which is the future of the project. So everybody is paying a buy tax and a sell tax, and that's value that usually goes into the liquidity pool through a buy and is pulled out of the liquidity pool through a sell. But in taking the buys that would go to the liquidity pool and converting it into a stable coin and giving it out in a bigger and bigger manner leading up into the control event, you can preserve the life of the project. If you take sells, which sells usually impact the liquidity pool in a negative sense, not leaving anything positive, by taking away from that sell, you're able to take that value, convert it to an appreciating stable coin, move it into the future, and preserve the life of the project. What people are seeking is value. And if you shift the value from the liquidity pool and you stabilize it and put it in the future, you give the value that people are actually seeking in the future. You give actually incentive to hold and an actual incentive to buy the dip. And we're doing it in a bigger and bigger manner. So it actually leads up into some big event of rewarding those who usually are screwed the most. The people who buy the dips, hold the longest, the biggest whales who hold the longest while the liquidity pool goes down, you get screwed and you wish you would have sold because you're only incentivized to destroy the project before everybody else does. With this, everybody's paying into the future of the project, and really what they're paying into is the people who deserve it the most. If you're holding a project, you're supporting it. The more people hold, the more the project's going to grow, the more the liquidity pool is going to grow. The more people sell, the faster that project's going to die. And the scales are usually tipped so heavily towards the whales, those early buyers, that it's only a few people who are actually making profit and everybody else is getting screwed. And these few people actually control the destiny of the project. So Control Token is basically just distributing wealth in a more fair and balanced way to those who deserve it most, those who hold the longest, and it's incentivizing the growth of the project instead of the death of it. I think this tokenomic structure will do something amazing in the DeFi space. I think people will potentially be talking about Control Token and how it's able to do what it does. I think the control event is going to potentially be a massive event that people will be looking forward to, because what you have is you have the liquidity pool can go up and down in value, right? But the rewards, the control rewards, can never go down. They will always be appreciating stablecoin, a stablecoin that only goes up in value, and that value can never go down. Even if the liquidity pool goes down in value, the rewards can't. So that value that everyone's seeking will always be there, and it's there in a bigger and bigger manner, meaning that you have your monthly rewards, you have your 6-month rewards, and you have your 12-month rewards, and each one is going to be bigger and bigger. So no matter what, the 6-month rewards are always going to be bigger than the 1-month rewards previous to it, and the 12-month is always going to be bigger than the 6 months. So it happens in a bigger and bigger sense that's leading up into a big event called the control event, where it's this massive distribution of rewards. We've seen reflection and reward tokens, and we've seen how great that value is. But if you give that value to every single holder, every single wallet, you greatly dilute that value. It's like giving $100 to 10 people. Everybody only gets $10. But if you give $100 to two people that are staking, then they both get 50 and it actually adds value. Well, if you look at how these reward tokens work, sometimes the value gets up into 40 million or hundreds of millions of dollars when it comes to those rewards. But if it's being given out to everybody, it usually only matters for the whales, and the small people, it doesn't matter. By putting it behind a staking contract, you actually greatly increase that value, because everybody who doesn't stake, every whale who doesn't stake, and everybody who leaves the staking contract to take profits, they're forfeiting all their rewards to everybody who does stake and make it to the control event. Another amazing thing about Control Token is that instead of giving out those rewards immediately, which basically is what has happened with other projects, where if you give out rewards immediately, then once the price goes down, they've got the rewards, they can sell, and now there's nothing left for the future of the project because you need more volume to create those rewards. But if you take all the rewards and you delay them in a bigger and bigger manner going into the future, then even if a sell-off happens, even if that liquidity pool goes down through a sell-off, you actually have rewards that are being distributed in the future. All the whales that leave the project, they're forfeiting all their rewards into the future, and they're paying the tax into it in the future. So it leaves real value behind that allows for actually some amazing things. It allows for people to not feel like they missed out once a sell-off happens, if a sell-off happens. And it incentivizes not just holding, but also buying the dip. If somebody sells and at the first month, there's 11 more months of potential volume that could be feeding into those rewards. And so there's actually incentive to buy a dip other than just hoping a bunch of people come and buy so that you can sell on them. Control Token's in its pre-sale stages right now. Control Token is the result of watching multiple projects go and fail, and watching multiple projects and what they did right. And on top of that, hundreds of hours of me sitting there focusing on what is it that's actually causing projects to fail and how can you make it succeed. And it happened to be that tokenomics was the answer, because it is the liquidity pool that is a mechanism that distributes wealth based on sending native coin to the address and receiving the token. And it's done in a pyramid-like structure. The first people to send value to it increase the value, which makes it harder for everybody else to pull out tokens, and that increases the value. And then you get that upward momentum that everybody is seeking. That's the number one factor of what causes a project to grow. I'm not saying there's not projects that aren't good that won't succeed, but they're all stuck with this pyramid-like structure on top of trying to create a project. And really what that means is most of the power of where the future of the project is going is in the whale's hands, is in those early buyers' hands. Through addressing that problem is the distribution of wealth mechanism and changing it so that it actually incentivizes the future. It converts buys and sells into stablecoin and gives them out in a bigger and bigger manner. And incentivizing the future, you're actually able to create a project that everyone is paying into the future of the project to keep it alive. And whether you're leaving or whether you're buying, you're paying to keep the project alive. And I think holders can feel more secure in that, and they can also know that that incentivizes growth. And so I think it's more likely that a project like this will grow because it actually incentivizes the growth of the project. So if you guys have any questions about Control Token, definitely DM me on Twitter, shoot me a message. It's in its pre-sale stages right now. I not only think that this project is amazing, but the pre-sale, hopefully with that 20% sell tax, will actually prevent a sell-off and will actually be hopefully the floor value, which is the purpose of a pre-sale, is to allow for people to get in early and support it at what would be considered the riskiest time, because it doesn't have that, it hasn't quite established that it's even has any momentum yet. The good thing about this, it's not a rug, not a scam. Nobody's getting any tokens. We have multiple partnerships coming up in the future that I think is going to shed some light on it. Thanks for watching, guys, and make sure to follow Control Token. It's at Token Control, and make sure to stay up to date on the latest Control Token information.